Luffy's transformations have always been super exciting moments in One Piece. From the moment he kicked off Gear 2nd with that crazy speed boost at Enies Lobby, to those giant punches in Gear 3rd. And let's not forget Gear 4th, transforming him into a bouncing powerhouse. Every new form has really felt like a huge step up. Then Gear 5th showed up in Wano, and totally blew everyone away. It's crazy, unexpected, and just feels divine. As wild as Gear 5th is, it's obvious that Luffy will need something even stronger to tackle the big challenges coming his way. Honestly, the world government, Emu, and Blackbeard are all serious players. They're really on another level out there. Gear 5th is amazing, but do you think it's enough to take on foes who seem to control the fate of the whole world? I don't think so. That's why Gear 6th sounds so thrilling. Let's get started and dive into some of the coolest theories about what Gear 6th might be, and how it could function, and what it might mean for the series as we head toward the endgame. One of the most interesting things about Gear 6th is that it might connect to something we've already seen. The Rumble Balls. Do you remember these? Chopper's little snacks, kind of like drugs, really help him tap into some wild transformations that go way beyond what his regular human fruit can do. At the start of the series, they were kind of all over the place, but once Chopper worked on them, they turned into an essential part of his toolkit. By the time we got to Wano, it was clear just how powerful they could be, letting Chopper really hold his own against someone as strong as Queen. But here's the fun part. What if Luffy decides to use the Rumble Ball for himself? His fruit is actually a human type too, even if it's a mythical model. Imagine Chopper whipping up a unique Rumble Ball formula just for Luffy's Sun God Nika abilities. So what's the outcome? A huge new form that really brings out the raw animalistic side of his devil fruit. This transformation might really boost all of Luffy's current skills. Gear 5th already lets him warp reality in a fun, cartoonish way, but imagine what a Rumble Ball powered Gear 6th could do. It might take him to a whole new level, something wild and a bit out of control, like tapping into the raw energy of a god. Imagine Luffy transforming into a form that's even more fluid and wild, unleashing huge bursts of power that make Kaido's dragon form seem like nothing at all. It would be such a scary yet amazing sight, just right for someone who seems like a mythical god. What's super interesting about this theory is how it connects to the idea of limits. Luffy really knows how to push limits, whether it's his own power or taking on the tough systems in the One Piece world. A Rumble Ball enhanced Gear 6 would really show him breaking through another limit, tapping into a form that seems impossible. Now let's take this in another direction. Have you seen how Gear 5th looks a bit like the Sulong form of the Mink tribe? Pretty interesting, right? That wild hair, those glowing eyes, and all that chaotic energy, there's definitely something going on there. The Sulong transformation happens when there's a full moon, and it's definitely one of the most powerful abilities we've come across in the series. So here's the deal. Chopper came up with a drug that allows the Minks to tap into Sulong without having to rely on the moon. So what if Luffy took inspiration from that? Imagine Luffy tapping into his sun god powers to whip up a moon-inspired form. It might seem ironic, but it really does make a lot of sense. The sun and the moon truly are like two sides of the same coin, right? It's interesting how the idea of blending their energies aligns so well with the themes of balance and duality in One Piece. A Sulong-style Gear 6 might really amp up Luffy's animalistic vibe, taking his zone powers to the max. This form might just bring Luffy's journey even closer to Joy Boy's legacy. The Minks have a strong bond with Joy Boy, Zunisha, and the Kozuki clan, and these connections are super important as the story wraps up. If Gear 6 includes some aspects of the Sulong form, it could tie back to Joy Boy's past and his link to the Minks in a cool way. This form has the potential to be quite stunning visually. Think of Luffy sporting a cool hybrid look that mixes the wild vibes of Sulong with the imaginative, reality-warping abilities of Gear 5th. His hair could get even wilder, his eyes shining brighter than before, and his movements turning into a flurry of unexpected attacks. It would be a design that totally shouts chaos and power, capturing Luffy's role as a liberator perfectly. Okay, now let's jump into something even more exciting. So on Egghead Island, we learned about this intriguing thing called the Eternal Flame. It's this mysterious energy source that Vegapunk has been working hard to replicate. It's linked to those ancient weapons and the tech from the Void Century, and it could even be related to Luffy's Devil Fruit. Have you ever thought about how Luffy's Gear 6 might be connected to this Eternal Flame? Think about it. Luffy's Sun God Nika powers focus on freedom and liberation, and they're closely connected to fire and light too. His Red Hawk and Red Rock attacks really show off his link to flames, and Gear 6 could ramp that up even more. Consider Luffy turning into this amazing version of the Eternal Flame, where his whole body is just bursting with heat and light that's so bright it's nearly overwhelming. His attacks could melt through anything, and just being there could totally shift the whole battlefield. This form isn't just about sheer strength, it's also connected to the deeper themes of One Piece. The eternal flame is like a never-ending source of energy, something that could really bring hope and good things to the world. Luffy becoming the eternal flame would show how he stands as a symbol of hope for all those who feel oppressed by the world government. This change could really shake things up for the story's lore, don't you think? If Luffy's Gear 6 is connected to the eternal flame, it could shed some light on the Void Century, the ancient weapons, and what Joy Boy is really all about. This could in fact pave the way for the final showdown, with Luffy's ultimate form symbolizing the light that finally triumphs over the darkness of the world government. What if Luffy's Gear 6 is inspired by the Fallen Angel archetype? That would be a pretty wild idea, right? The D-Clan is commonly known as the enemies of the gods, and Luffy's adventure revolves around standing up to the celestial dragons, who think of themselves as divine beings. What if Gear 6 really embraces this idea, making Luffy a symbol of rebellion against divine authority? In a lot of myths, fallen angels are linked to light and fire. Lucifer, which means Lightbringer, is a great example of this. Imagine a Gear 6 transformation that takes inspiration from this idea, giving Luffy a form that's a mix of divine and demonic. It really captures his role as a hero who stands up to the gods in his world. This form might benefit from a darker vibe, maybe with some fiery wings, or an aura that gives off a mix of celestial and chaotic energy. This theory connects nicely with the concept of duality in One Piece. Luffy's not just your typical hero, he's a pirate too. He lives his life on his own terms, breaking the rules and shaking things up. A Gear 6 inspired by a fallen angel would really nail that duality, portraying Luffy as someone who embodies hope through his rebellious spirit. In the end, Gear 6 might not be linked to just one of these concepts, it could actually be a mix of everything we've encountered up to this point. Oda really knows how to incorporate different parts of the story in unexpected ways, and Gear 6 might just be the best example of that. Imagine a form that brings together the raw strength of the Rumble Ball theory, the moonlit energy of Sulong, the radiant glow of the eternal flame, and the defiant essence of the fallen angel archetype. It's like a storm that shows all the growth Luffy has gone through on his journey. No matter what Gear 6 turns out to be, we can all agree on one thing: it's gonna be epic. Luffy's journey has been leading up to this moment, and his next transformation really needs to match the huge stakes of the story's final arc. It could be linked to the Rumble Balls, Sulong, the Eternal Flame, or maybe something totally surprising. But Gear 6 is definitely going to be a form that really solidifies Luffy as one of the all-time great heroes in manga history. If you're feeling as pumped as I am about what's out there, there's a ton more to dive into. What do you think would happen if the rest of the Straw Hat crew discovered their own ultimate transformations? What role do you think the ancient weapons will play in the final battle? And what other surprises do you think Oda has up his sleeves for us? I'm really looking forward to chatting about everything and seeing how it all plays out. In the meantime, you can check out this other cool video that's appearing on your screen. Click on it to see.